Hey, what is going on, guys? It's DK back at you with another video here. It's rating the 6-game NBA main slate on Thursday. It is so good to be back after the All-Star break. Ready to talk about some NBA daily fantasy sports. If you guys are new to the channel, my name's DK. I make daily videos talking about NBA, NFL, and XFL daily fantasy sports. I'm also here to announce the winner to the weekly $20 PayPal giveaway. The winner is Joseph Walton. Congrats. Either hit me up in the YouTube comment section or on Twitter. I can make sure to get you that $20 PayPal. But yeah, how this giveaway works is all you had to do is leave a like and a comment in the video. That's one inch in the giveaway. Max one comment left per video. So I'll start with this video right here. We'll go throughout the week and we'll actually end in not this upcoming Monday, but the next Monday. So it'll be another prolonged week since it was kind of weird since we had no NBA game this Monday. So starting with this video, I'm going through not the most recent Monday, but the Monday after that is where I'll announce the winner to the next giveaway. So however many videos I've uploaded for this prolonged week, you can enter the giveaway that many times. So if I have 10 videos uploaded for the week, you can enter the giveaway 10 times. And again, the winner receives $20 PayPal for myself. With that out of the way, let's jump to the video. Again, I'm super excited to finally have NBA back. It's only been gone for like a week, but it feels like a lot longer. So yeah, let's go over some over-unders and spreads before we talk about players and their prices. So again, 6 games. We have the Bucks and the Pistons, 224 over-under. The Bucks are 13.5-point favorites, so obviously some blowout risk in this one. Miami and Atlanta sitting at 230.5. Miami are 6-point favorites. We have the Nets and the 76ers 217 over-under. The 76ers are 8-point favorites. We have the Hornets and the Bulls a 210.5 over-under. The Bulls are 5-point favorites. Memphis and Sacramento 228 over-under. The Kings are 1-point favorites. And we have the late night hammer Rockets Warriors 232.5, the highest of the night. The Rockets are 10-point favorites against a little bit of blow risk in that one as well. So let's just do it. Let's jump right into it. We'll start with center. And at the top is Joel Embiid at 9K. I think he really stands out at this price. Now, the last game against the Clippers, we got a little bit unlucky. He got in some foul trouble. He missed out on about 3 or 4 minutes due to that foul trouble. He picked up 2 quick fouls in the first quarter. I think normally we get about 32, 33 minutes from Embiid in a close game. Now, the concern is that they do have Horford coming out the bench, so maybe he takes a minute or two away from Embiid now that he's no longer playing the 4. He's kind of playing the backup 5 a bit. So that is a slight concern. But 9K, match against Brooklyn, who always has a traditional center out there. I think Embiid stands out as one of the better plays of the day at that price. Also really like Bam and Adebayo. So these two guys at the top, for center at least, I have a good amount of interest in. One of the best possible matchups is Atlanta, and he's priced under 8K. Bam, we know, is going to get about 35 or so minutes in a close game. I think he really stands out at this price. Again, really good matchup as well. So the two centers at the top, Embiid and Bam, I do have a good amount of interest in. Jonas Valanciunas, so this Memphis-Sacramento game is interesting to me because I don't think one play stands out, but it's a 228 over-under, and two teams that don't play a whole lot of defense. So this is a game I think more suited for GPPs. Maybe you want to stack it, right? You can run a couple of Memphis guys, maybe like JV, John Morant, run it back like De'Aaron Fox, another Sacramento guy. Don't hate that idea there. I just don't think one play really stands out in this game. So it's kind of an interesting game, but there is some upside in this one for sure. Christian Wood, so this is intriguing, right? It's all about what do you want to do with this game. It is a 13.5-point spread, so there's some serious blowout risk. We have Giannis Antetokounmpo back as well. But Detroit is super thin now. No Andre Drummond. Reggie Jackson probably going to sign to the Clippers. So they have like no offense besides Christian Wood and Derrick Rose. Both are guys that have pretty big upside. So if Detroit's going to keep this game close, most likely because of Christian Wood and Derrick Rose, who are both underpriced. Now again, the risk is this game blows out and they'll only see 3/4 of a run, which is definitely a real risk. But if Detroit can somehow keep this game close, I think Wood and Derrick Rose can both smash their prices. So this might be a spot where I take a shot on Wood and Rose and just hope the game stays close. Because if it does, both those guys have huge upside. Revenge game spot for Wood as well. It seems like there's a lot of the Milwaukee misfits that didn't end up staying with the Bucks kind of on Detroit now. Christian Wood, Thon Maker, John Henson. There's a lot of former Milwaukee guys. I like Christian Wood a lot here. Again, the concern is just the blowout. But 35, 37, 38 minutes of 3 of the last 4 games. Now, the game against Charlotte only played 23. He was in foul trouble that whole game. Wouldn't be super concerned about that. We probably get Andre Drummond minutes from Christian Wood, which is going to be about 35 or so, if this game stays close. And again, if it does, we know it's going to be because of Wood and Derrick Rose, most likely. They really don't have a whole lot of other offensive weapons. So I like both those guys a lot. The concern is, again, the blowout. Let's see. Marquise Chris is another guy I'm interested in, more of a mid-tier center at 6.2K, just because the minutes for him, 28, 27, 27, 31 minutes. So he's getting consistent minutes right now. The concern here is we know Houston likes running small ball, right? PJ Tucker at the 5, Robert Covington at the 5. They're going to get Jeff Green and who else? One other guy, DeMar Carroll. So those are, that is the concern. It's just Houston does like running small ball, so maybe Steve Kerr matches it and runs like Draymond at the 5, and Marquise Chris gets limited. That's definitely a concern. But if Steve Kerr is just going to continue to play Marquise Chris like 28 minutes and just say screw it, I'm just going to run Chris at the 5 no matter what, then I think he could have a really good game at this price point. So another situation where it's a little bit risky because again, Houston, they like running small ball. Golden State could match. But if they run Chris out there for like 25, 30 minutes, I think he could have a really good game at that price tag. So he's a little bit more risky, maybe for GPPs. Triple J at 6K. Again, I don't think one play really stands out in this game, but there definitely is some upside with a lot of those guys in that game. Brook Lopez at 5.6 will probably pass. DeAndre Jordan, Jarrett Allen, don't think we have to go there against Embiid. Horford off the bench at 5K is okay. I mean, we'll probably get 25 or so minutes from him. He's fine, mid-tier to cheap value play. Dwayne Dedmon is a guy I have some interest in at 4.8. Wouldn't be super concerned about that 18 minutes. He was in severe foul trouble the whole game. Picked up 2 quick fouls at the first quarter, and then came back in at the second quarter and picked up his third right away. I think he only played like 4 or 5 minutes in the first half. Finished the game 18 minutes. Before that, 35, 33, and 28 minutes. So Dedmon is a guy that if he stays out of foul trouble, we probably get about 30 minutes or so. Now, not necessarily the best spot here against Miami, but if we're going to get about 30 minutes from Dedmon at under 5K, I think he's a pretty solid, cheap option. I don't know if I want to go with any of the Charlotte bigs, like Cody Zeller, Bismack Biyombo, Hernan Gomez. Probably a stay away from me. PJ Washington has been super disappointing, but 4.5K, I think he is a viable, cheap option. Thon Maker, 4.5 is fine. Again, a revenge spot for him. He's been getting consistent minutes. We probably get around 25 or so. So I think he's a solid value play. Again, I think the guys that have the big upside, though, are Christian Wood and Derrick Rose. Let's see. Other options here. I like Markieff Morris again. Detroit they don't have a whole lot of other scoring options. He probably gets about 20 or so minutes. He's another viable punt play for Detroit. Luke Cornett, I don't think I want to go there 3.7 because we have Daniel Gafford coming back. I believe Gafford here is min price. Yeah, Gafford expected to be a full go Thursday, so we'll see. If he picks up the start, I think he would be one of the better value plays. So I think we probably get 20, 25-ish minutes from him. And at min price, he's a pretty productive guy. So we got to keep an eye on this. If Gafford draws the start, he'd become one of my favorite value plays there at min price. I think that really wraps up, though, for center. So let's move on to power forward. Giannis at the top. So again, the big question is, what do you want to do with this game? I think there's 2 options. I think you can completely fade it, maybe play some value plays, and just hope the game blows out. Or you could play Christian Wood, Derrick Rose, and run it back for Giannis, and just hope the game stays close. Because 11.1K is too cheap for Giannis. The concern is just, again, the blowout. He's gotten 33, 35, and 34 minutes the last 3 games, which is really good to see. So I think in a close game, he probably gets about 35. Again, Detroit, if they're going to keep it close, most likely because of Wood and Derrick Rose. So I don't hate the idea at all of going Wood, Rose, running back Giannis, and just praying the game stays close, because that lineup right there, I think, has immense upside. It's just risky because of the blowout factor, right? John Collins, I don't think I get to him at that price with Trae Young healthy. Tobias Harris, not a big Tobias Harris guy, but 6.4K. I think he's certainly in play here. 38, 33, 30, 37 minutes the last 4 games. He's topped over 40 fantasy points in 3 of the last 4 games. Now, the concern is he is a little bit scoring dependent. He did have 12 rebounds and 5 assists last game. Normally, though, He's a little bit more scoring dependent, so that is slightly the concern. But 6.4K in a good spot against Brooklyn, I think he stands as a pretty solid mid-tier play. Other options here, Bjelica at that price. I don't know if I get to him just because we have Jabari Parker coming back. I don't know how the rotation is going to work out. They have him, they have Harry Giles, they have, Harrison Barnes can use it the 4 a bit. So probably a stay away for the bigs for me in Sacramento, but unless we get like definitive news on how many minutes Jabari Parker's going to get. Robert Covington's fine at 5.5, 35, 38 minutes. He'll run the 5 a lot for Houston. I think he's okay. Doesn't really stand out as an amazing play, though. Thad Young at 5.4. I think it's a safe option, right? Not a guy that has huge upside, but we probably get over 30 minutes from him. He's not a guy, again, that has huge upside, but I think he probably gets you around 20, 25-ish, maybe 30 on the high end. Let's see. Other options, like Jay Crowder at 5K, has been playing pretty well for Miami in his first few games. 35, 31, 25 minutes, 45, 39, 23 fantasy points. I think he's okay, but I don't think he keeps up like this level of production, 45 and 39 every night. Let's see. Other options here. PJ Tucker is always gross to play, but he's going to get big minutes. I guess he's okay value. Derek Jones Jr. 4K. I just don't know if I can get to him with Jay Crowder down in the rotation. They have Andre Iguodala too, so it's probably a pass for me. Again, Jabari Parker, he's going to play. We don't know how many minutes he's going to play. It's probably just a stay away for the bigs for me in Sacramento. A guy like Sekru at 3.2, like him, Svi Mikhailuk, I guess are viable punt options. Now, he really hasn't had a whole lot of minutes last 3 games, 13, 19, and 14. So I think I would only even consider him if he starts. All right, let's move on to small forward. Ben Simmons at the top is certainly doable at 9.5. He's a guy that's playing huge minutes, 35, 37, 43. He has triple-double upside every single time he takes the court. Again, a good matchup. The bad thing is just the price. 9.5K feels like a lot to pay for Ben Simmons. I think I would slightly give the edge to Embiid at $500 less, but I'm perfectly fine if you want to go Simmons over Embiid. Let's see. Middleton and Bledsoe are not guys I'm really looking to with Giannis available to play. Andrew Wiggins, another situation where, what do you want to do with this game? It's a 10-point spread. There is some blowout risk. If Golden State's going to keep this game close, probably because of a big game from Wiggins, he's at 7.6K. He's a guy that has 40, even 50 fantasy point upside in this type of up-tempo game. I know I hate Andrew Wiggins, but I think he is viable for sure at this price, especially if you're a guy that's going to run it back with if you're going to target Westbrook or Harden, you're confident this game stays close. And if this game stays close, probably due to Andrew Wiggins. So, yeah, I think he is in play there. LeVert at 6.7 I think is viable as well. No Kyrie. He's actually out indefinitely. So him and Spencer Dinwiddie I think would be the main catalyst in the offense. We've seen big games from LeVert here. Not necessarily the best spot, but the minutes. 33, 33, and 36 minutes. We have yet, LeVert has always been a guy that, low 20s minutes this season. Now he's getting mid-30s minutes. So I think you have to consider him. You have to consider Dinwiddie. I think, one or even both those guys could definitely get you there at their respective prices. Again, Buddy Hield is definitely doable off the bench at 6.6. I just don't think really one play stands out, but you could definitely run a game stack of Memphis and Sacramento. Draymond Green at 6.5, he's going to handle a lot of the point guard duties. Now we got news that Jordan Poole is going to start at point, but Draymond Green will handle the ball a lot. I think he's fine at this price point. Again, maybe if you're going to target Westbrook Harden, you could run it back with Draymond Green. I'll say I don't think I get to Bridges or Herder at their prices. Bruce Brown at 5.2 is going to have to do more offensively, but I would just much prefer getting to Christian Wood and Derrick Rose for a little bit more, whose upside I think is way higher than Bruce Brown. Now, Bruce Brown can still have upside games, but I would prefer getting to Wood, to Derrick Rose, and maybe one of those really cheap Detroit guys. Let's see. Other options here, like Kyle Anderson's actually fine at 4.3K. He's been getting some decent run from Memphis, about 25 or some minutes. Not a very exciting play, but I think he's doable at that price. Josh Richardson is one of my favorite value plays at 4.2. Now, they eased him back into it the first couple of games, coming out the bench 15-19, but fed him to the Wolves that last game, 32 minutes. So if he's going to continue to start and play 30 to 35 minutes like he was early in the season, I think he's one of the top value plays. In a good matchup, the minutes went way up the last game, so I really like Josh Richardson at 4.2. Let's see. Chicago. We'll talk about the Chicago guys in here a bit, but they are very, very thin. No Chandler Hutchinson, no Chris Dunn, no Markkanen, no Wendell Carter Jr., no Otto Porter. I'll kind of come back and go to Chicago at the end. Maybe I'll come back and get to Detroit at the end too. Two teams that are going to be pretty thin. Andre Iguodala, I think, is a viable punt option, almost min-price. 23, 17, and 24 minutes. Not a guy that has huge upside, but if we get about 20 to 25-ish minutes, I think he's a guy that can get 15, 25-ish fantasy points, somewhere in that range in a good matchup. So I'm okay with Andre Iguodala as a punt. Now, Steve Mikhailuk does intrigue me here at 3.2. That first game back from the hip injury, only played 18 minutes and limited him off the bench, but it's been a week, right, the All-Star game, so he was normally a guy that was starting and getting some good run. If he starts at this game at 3.2K, I think he is a viable punt option for sure. Now, Shaq Harrison is a guy that I think has a chance he could start just because Chicago, again, is super, super thin. They have no wings. They've been starting Chandler Hutchinson at the 3. He's out. Again, no Otto Porter, no Chris Dunn. I mean, I guess they could move Kobe White in the starting lineup and run a 3-guard rotation. Otherwise, I think Shaq Harrison probably gets a start. And at min-price, he would be someone that become, if he does start, would become one of the better value plays. So we got to keep an eye on that Chicago starting lineup for sure. All right, I think that basically wraps up for small forward. Let's move on to shooting guard. And Harden, good spot at 11.3K. The concern is the blowout, but he has huge upside in a matchup like this. Again, maybe if you're going to run it back, if you're going to play like Wiggins or Draymond Green, you could definitely run it back with one of those expensive Rockets guards, whether it be Harden, whether it be Westbrook. I think Harden has more upside. But yeah, so I think he's a pretty solid spot up there at 11.3. Zach LaVine at 9.2 is definitely doable. He had 63 that last game against Washington, 41 real-life points. He's been playing really, really good basketball. The concern is just the price, 9.2. And Charlotte, not very good defensively, but they play at such a slow pace that it does kind of affect the upside of Zach LaVine. So he's more of just a contrarian option for me at that price. Jimmy Butler at 7.9K I think does stand out as a really solid play here. He's priced under 8K. A good match against Atlanta. We probably get around 35 or so minutes in a close game from him. So him, Bam, and Adebayo, I think do stand out as pretty solid plays here on the Miami side. Dinwiddie, again, this is another situation where there is a little bit of blowout risk, right? The Nets are 8-point dogs, no Kyrie Irving on the road against Philly. Philly's been really, really good at home. But 7.3K I think is just too cheap. 36, 35, and 34 minutes last. So he's going to play about 35 or so minutes. He's going to have to do a lot offensively. Him and LeVert are going to be the main catalyst in this offense. I like both those guys a good amount. And if you want to, run it back with, or if you want to play Embiid or maybe Ben Simmons or both, don't hate the idea of running a game stack. Play both those guys, run it back with one or both of these Brooklyn guys and go value from there. I think that is certainly doable. I really like the upside in Dinwiddie. I really like the upside in LeVert. The concern is just the blowout risk, right? That's kind of like what I've talked about the last couple games, like the Detroit guys. Wood, Derrick Rose. Love their upside, but there's definitely risk. The Brooklyn guys, right? 8-point dogs on the road. Dinwiddie, LeVert. If they're going to keep it close, we probably see big games from them. And then Golden State, they're 10-point dogs. Houston plays at such a fast pace where there is some upside there with guys like Wiggins, Draymond Green, Jordan Poole, that I'll talk about in a bit. But there's definitely, again, some risk with the blowout. So it's all about, what do you feel comfortable with? If you feel comfortable with taking some shots on those Pistons guys, then go for it. I love their upside, right? So, let's keep it going here for shooting guard. A guy like Terry Rozier missed that last game due to a knee injury. He looks like he's going to be good to go. I think he's a pretty solid cash game play, actually, at 5.7K. Not a guy that has flashed huge upside recently, but we know he's got 40, even 50 fantasy points in him on a good night. I think Terry Rozier is a pretty solid. I don't think he's going to kill you at this price point. We probably get about 35 or so minutes from him. So I think he's a pretty good cash game play. let's see again, the Memphis-Sacramento game, I don't really think one play stands out, but I'm fine if you want to take a shot on some of these guys. Bogdan's been a little bit up and down, though. Kobe White is a guy I have some interest in. Chicago's just super, super thin. 31, 26, and 35 minutes the last 3 games. Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to have to play some good minutes here with how thin they are. So he's a guy that does have upside at the bench. I guess there's a possibility they could start him. So he is a guy that has some interest in for sure at that price point. The Milwaukee guys with Giannis coming back, don't know if I get to any of them. Jordan Poole is a guy that I do like a decent amount at 4K. 31 and 32 minutes in back-to-back games. He's come off the bench. Now he's going to start in this one. He's going to technically start at point guard. But again, Draymond Green's going to handle a lot of the point guard duties. Really, the only thing downside I have to say about him is he is scoring dependent as well. But he's a guy that has upside for sure, especially in this spot. Like, someone's going to have to score the ball for Golden State. Like, Wiggins isn't going to score like 50, right? So someone else is going to have to score. Chris, Jordan Poole, those guys are going to have to step up here. So at 4K for a guy that would probably get over 30 minutes from an up-tempo game, I really like him as a value play. I think that really wraps up, though, for shooting guard. So let's talk about point guard here. Harden at the top here. Talk about Trae Young at 10.5. I think is more of a contrarian option, but he is always in play for GPPs. Not really the best spot against Miami, but he's a guy that has put up big, big performances in tough matchups. So don't know if I get to him in cash games, but love his upside for GPPs. He has 60, 70 fantasy point upside almost every single night he takes the court. So yeah, I think Trae Young is definitely viable at the top there. Westbrook at 10.2, another spend up that is certainly in play. Again, the concern is just the blowout, but he's been playing big minutes. He's been playing great basketball. Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with Harden. I'm perfectly fine with Westbrook there at the top. We got no Kyrie. He's going to be out indefinitely. I already talked about liking Jimmy Butler there at under 8K. Devontae Graham's a guy I think is going to be pretty popular at 7.5K, and I can't really argue with it. The last 4 games, 35 minutes. He's had 39, 50, 46, and 45 fantasy points. So he's been really stepping it up after a slow kind of stretch there. Yeah, really the downside is Chicago has actually been pretty solid defensively, but he is right now for his level of production in the last 4 games, he is underpriced. So this is a situation where I think he's going to be pretty popular. If I feel like he's going to be super, super chalk, then I might pivot off him to a guy like Dinwiddie at a similar price or a guy like De'Aaron Fox. I have no issue with Devontae Graham. I just think his ownership is going to be inflated after those last 4 games. Again, I think he's a pretty solid play. But if I get the feeling that he's going to be super, super chalk, that's where I might pivot elsewhere. A guy like Dinwiddie, a guy like De'Aaron Fox. Again, 7.4K. He's a guy that has 40, even 50 fantasy point upside in a really good spot against Memphis. I like him a good amount for GPPs. Let's see, John Morant, kind of the same thing with De'Aaron Fox. I don't know if I get there for cash games, but a lot of those guys are viable for GPPs. Don't play Reggie Jackson. He is no longer on the team. He's a buyout. Looks like he's going to sign with the Clippers. So Detroit is a team that is super, super thin. Derrick Rose, his first game back from the injury, only played 17 minutes, was 1 of 13. Not super concerned about that. I assume he starts. If he comes off the bench, I would have a little bit less interest in him. But really, who is going to score the ball for Detroit? No Reggie Jackson. No Andre Drummond. Like, Tony Snell is not going to score the ball for Detroit. So it's like Derrick Rose and Christian Wood are going to be the guys. And they're both too cheap. The concern is just they only play 3 quarters. So I like both these guys a lot at their respective prices. You guys know what the risk is playing them, though. Dragic has actually been getting some decent run. Kendrick Nunn's been struggling. We still know of Tyler Hero. I'm okay with him if you can't get to Jimmy or can't get to Bam and want a cheaper piece in Miami, more of like the mid-range. I'm okay with Goran Dragic there. Let's see. Other options here. Again, I already talked about liking Poole, good amount as value play. I think that's really it. So let's talk about the Pistons and then Chicago, and then I can get out of here. Again, so the Pistons. Let's go to utility. Right? Who is going to score the ball for this team? No Reggie Jackson. Don't play him. No Andre Drummond, obviously. Still no Luke Kennard. So it's going to be Wood and Rose. Like, Bruce Brown is a guy that can have good games at times, but not a super great offensive guy. Like, Thon Maker's not a big scorer. Tony Snell's not. Markieff Morris is the guy that's going to shoot the ball, but not going to play huge minutes. Like Galloway, not really, right? Henson's minutes have gone down. Svi and Sekou are not big offensive threats. So, yeah, I like Wood. I like Reggie Jackson a lot. This is a situation where I think I'll probably take a stand and just hope the game stays close because I could see big games, or for Wood and Derrick Rose. I don't know if I misspoke there, but Wood and Derrick Rose, I like a good amount. Might be a situation where I take a stand and just hope the game stays close. Again, you could always run it back with Giannis on the other side, who I think is underpriced. Then Chicago, they're also a team that's pretty thin. No Wendell Carter Jr., no Markkanen, no Hutchinson, no Otto Porter Jr., no Chris Dunn. So Levine, Thad Young, Stan Aransky, and Luke Cornett has been starting. It could be Gafford there. If Gafford starts for Cornett, I would like him a good amount as a value play. They could insert Kobe White into the starting lineup, run a 3-guard rotation, or it could be a guy like Arcidiacono or Shaq Harrison. So whoever ends up picking up the start for Chicago, whether it be Shaq Harrison, Arcidiacono, or Kobe White, I think I would have a good amount of interest in them. But yeah, I think that about wraps it up, guys. I will be live streaming for this 6-game slate probably 45 minutes before lock on my YouTube channel. So be sure to check out the live stream, guys. I will go over all the injury news we get throughout the day. I will give you guys my core kind of cash game plays, and then I will get to questions, answer your questions at the end. Super, super excited for NBA to be back. The All-Star break was a nice, relaxing break, but I'm ready to get back to the grind for NBA DFS. Also, if you guys are interested in XFL DFS, had a really, really good week. XFL Week 2 had a lot of viewers win big money. So if you guys are interested in XFL content, just recorded a podcast. That will be in the description below. Go over a lot of the stuff for Week 3. Also, I have a video up breaking down a kind of a final look at the Week 3 XFL slate on Friday, so be on the lookout for that. But yeah, thanks again for everyone coming to check out the video, and I will see you guys all tomorrow in the live stream.